With the market heating up again, three altcoins stand out as top performers that could see even more explosive growth in the coming weeks. Plus, Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse speaks on the huge growth in partnerships they've gotten recently because of this one key factor. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, altcoinbuzz.io, and as always, the not financial advice. We wish you the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Alright, you guys, so starting off today, Bitcoin is more or less at the same spot it was yesterday. It came down a little bit yesterday, but overall it's back up again today. So it looks like it is holding strong and it wants to go higher, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we did pump up into this 96 zone and then come back down around $92,000 to $91,000 before eventually going back up and breaking through this resistance here. So overall, it does still look very good on the high time frames on the daily chart, but I will say I wouldn't be surprised because this is the last major resistance before going to new all-time highs. So once we break through this, we're pretty much off to the races for all-time highs. So I wouldn't be too surprised if, because we have so much leverage built in the system, if we come up here, we flush all the late longs and then we come back down here and then we break through eventually after that and we come back to new all-time highs. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw something like this, but we're still going to see overall Bitcoin looking pretty good right now on the daily charts. So starting off today, we have Thomas saying BlackRock buys 10,220 Bitcoin, 1 day's inflow, which is huge. So BlackRock's back to buying Bitcoin. ETFs are buying Bitcoin a lot. We also have quantitative trading firm Presto predicts that the Bitcoin price could hit $210,000 just this year. So with Peter Chung saying this.
Outlook. So Bitcoin target price remains 210,000 and driven by institutional adoption and global liquidity expansion. Bitcoin has two faces, digital gold and risk-on assets. And most of the time, Bitcoin behaves like a risk-on assets because it's a network whose value comes from the user adoption and network effect, very similar to an internet company, for instance. But it was during a crisis that the Bitcoin behaves like a gold because it's designed after the physical gold in terms of like a digital scarcity and so forth. But these moments are rare. So if only happened when the market has doubts about the stability of the US dollar-dominated financial system, like when Russia invaded Ukraine in early 2022, or when Silicon Valley banks collapsed in early 2023. And then most recently, in the aftermath of the Liberation Day tariff announcements. So I think the Bitcoin is just doing what it does, which is, sometimes it acts like a risk-on asset most of the time, but during the crisis, it acts like a gold. And
then we have Coinbase, which is actually just fired up a game-changing Bitcoin yield fund. So they're aiming for 4 to 8% steady Bitcoin returns without the crazy risks. Built for institutions with security first, no shady loans, no wild call selling, backed early by heavy hitters like Aspen Digital. Launching on May 1st, this could pull $1 billion under management fast. Monthly access, pure Bitcoin returns, safer custody, setting a new gold standard for yield. Coinbase AM is raising the bar for how crypto and TradFi meet. Is this the future of secure Bitcoin wealth creation? We also have Andrew, who also kind of goes in a bit further. He says, quick breakdown, it's accredited investors only. Bitcoin is used for lending and basis trading, which is a cash and carry trade. No rehypothecation, aka trust us bro. A big move for Coinbase to stay in the game. Compared to Aave lending rates, 4 to 8% looks juicy, but for true DeFi degenerates, it's kind of mid. Institutions stacking Bitcoin and farming yield. A new cycle is unlocked. So 4 to 8% safely on your Bitcoin is pretty good if you're just going to hold Bitcoin already, and Coinbase is one of the most trusted, for institutions. So it's decent. It's a decent way to lock up your Bitcoin and get a little bit of a yield, which is kind of pretty much the range people, try to target for with S&P and to beat inflation and all that. So for institutions, I could see this as a pretty good offer from Coinbase. Then moving on, we have John Esquire, who says, the end of Swift. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says XRP won't just compete, it'll bury the Swift system. Faster, cheaper, and more reliable global payments are just around the corner. So Brad recently said this on Fox News.
Market opportunity here is massive. You have trillions of dollars flowing cross-border globally. It's still largely dominated by the SWIFT network, if you will. And that's architecture, that's a technology architecture that's developed 50 years ago. There's an opportunity to modernize. That takes time, particularly when you have a government in the U.S. kind of combating that innovation. But that's changing now. The Trump effect, if you will, is profound. You're seeing that in asset prices, but you're also going to see that in the adoption of these technologies.
Yeah, and I think so. When you're looking at the growth story then of Ripple, does it still come from overseas? Or are you expecting a change in terms of domestic interest in Ripple?
Well, we're definitely already seeing a change in the domestic interest. These 6 weeks after President Trump was elected, we signed more deals in the United States than we had in the previous 6 months. So these are very innovative technologies. I think they're going to play out over 10, even 20 years in terms of how they integrate and rewire the financial infrastructure of the United States. That's across payments. That's across even the settlement of maybe real estate transactions, securities transactions. So I think we're going to see this play out over a long arc. But in the United States is finally unlocked, and I think people are underestimating how big that change is, and you'll see that continue to play out this year.
And then we also have Brett saying XRP's network value to transactions, or NVT ratio, declined by 15.74% in the last 24 hours, reflecting increased network utility. So XRP is doing pretty well. It actually is still holding up pretty much like we drew yesterday. We are coming to the resistance pretty much the same as Bitcoin. It's coming into resistance. I do expect a bit of a pullback, and then we continue higher, even though it is still bullish, especially on the high time frame. This would still make a higher low, and still we could still be going upwards. If we break above this, then it looks decent, but we have another area of resistance right here at 260. So I don't want to get too overzealous just yet, because it could come up here and then reject as well. So more likely for like a good trade, I'd actually prefer if it came back down here, because it's more likely that it's going to hit the top of this range again quicker if we do have a bit of a pullback first. So this is a trade I'm looking for, somewhere around almost 3 risk reward ratio. If we come back down to around 206, I'm looking for that on XRP. Pretty much the same thing as yesterday, just hovering almost at resistance here. Hey Americans, we found an exchange that gives you the best of both worlds, Canadians as well. Want to trade spot markets on over 400 trading pairs without KYC? You can. Want to trade perpetual markets on over 150 trading pairs with KYC that accepts Americans and Canadians as well? You can. The only exchange we've seen in the market that lets you do both simple spot trading without KYC and perps trading with KYC that Americans can use is BYDFi. And now they have a great new product that blends the best of what both a centralized and decentralized exchange have to offer. Meet MoonX. Now, although most of us wish we could use DEXes for almost everything in crypto, that's just not the reality. There's just more volume, more trading pairs, and more coins available on centralized exchanges. But BYDFi is bridging this gap with its MoonX product. It was first announced at Paris Blockchain Week, and you're going to hear a lot more about this week at Token 2049. MoonX is like having a superpower in both hands. On your left, you've got your classic centralized exchange, such as your favorite trading app, with all the coins and smooth experience you can expect from BYDFi. But then on your right, that's MoonX, their brand new DEX, and it's loaded with something like 500,000 meme coins. And they're covering all the bases here. It's about the coins you want, combined with the degen experience BYDFi knows that some of you are looking for. On the MoonX side of things, you can track new token launches in real time, plus you can get access to coins as soon as they launch. And with your BYDFi account, you have access to both seamlessly. Just one click takes you from the BYDFi centralized exchange to the MoonX decentralized exchange and back again. So try MoonX and BYDFi today. You get all the coins you want to trade both in the very short term and the long term. You can also get some extra freebies by trying BYDFi today with the link down below. And then for our second altcoin, we actually covered this yesterday, but Eisenhower actually has a pretty good thread here. So SUI surged 69% the last week amid rumors of a Pokemon collaboration. The speculation centers around the Pokemon Home's listing of Parasol Technologies on its website, a Web3 company acquired by Misten Labs in March. Is this just speculation or something more? So he has a pretty good thread here. He says, so Pokemon Home quietly updated its privacy policy with no formal announcement. Eagle Eye users spotted Parasol's inclusion, with 1x user breaking the news. What else are they trying to keep under wraps? We also have the update appears only in the app, not in the website. Parasol is listed in Western language versions, but absent from Japanese and Chinese versions. Here's why it's interesting. The SUI Foundation recently highlighted Parasol's work integrating collectible card games with blockchain NFTs. Their focus, creating gaming experiences with verifiable digital asset ownership. The gaming giant's potential entry into Web3 would be revolutionary. And according to some, SUI's blog originally mentioned Pokemon directly before being edited. Parasol may be developing blockchain features to address bugs, hacks, and duping. That hastier version tells its own story. Is it myth or lore? A SUI and Pokemon collaboration would be nuts, says Collector Shift's research digital director Matt Williamson. This potential partnership explains the recent outperformance of SUI. The full market impact of confirmation would be face melting. SUI now trades at $3.56, up 69+% in the last 7 days. Investor confidence is soaring on these rumors alone. Smart money is moving before any official announcement. Now the SUI community waits anxiously for a word from the Pokemon Company or Misten Labs. Whether true or not, these rumors have already impacted SUI's trajectory and sent a clear message to what the ecosystem wants. Misten Labs and SUI are shipping. The next few weeks should be fun. Now, SUI is actually looking pretty good, and you can see from this chart, this is, I mean, more or less, this is the Pokemon kind of news, but the market coming back also helps for SUI as well. But a lot of this, I'm sure, is driven by the Pokemon speculation. Now, one thing about SUI is I do expect us to come down and retest this level around $3.20 again, this level of support here, because we are seeing multiple daily wicks. This is the daily chart too. We're seeing multiple wicks up into this level of resistance. So there's two things. We could come down here, which I'd actually prefer because we'd have a bit of a pullback and we could long around 320. But another thing is, if it is super strong, it can just consolidate underneath resistance for a little bit and then blast through again and then retest and then head back up. So two different things could happen. But these big wicks tell me it's not ready to go through just yet. So we can either consolidate right here, or ideally, I'd like to see us have a pullback here because this is a massive run. So I'd like to see us have a bit of a deeper retracement before heading up higher again. But once we break through this next level of resistance at 365-ish, if we reclaim this level, I could see us going up towards around $4.07 next. Then we break that and we're going towards all-time highs around $5.30 after that. So once we break those levels, if Pokemon does come out, it's probably going to all-time highs very soon. That would be an amazing collaboration between SUI, if they had the SUI Play OX1 and like a new Pokemon game dropped on that. I don't know if that's possible, but that would be really cool if that did happen. So SUI is another one that could break out really quickly. Then for the last coin today, which is seeing huge gains, we have Virtuals. So this is because Binance US announced deposit for Virtuals, now open on Binance US. Trading the virtual USDT pair will begin on April 29th at 7 a.m. EDT, which I believe is happening right now. Virtuals is an ecosystem that allows users to create, launch, and monetize autonomous AI agents. So back to the AI agent trend, and Virtuals is looking pretty good. Virtuals came into resistance, kind of like a lot of things. It is at resistance right now. I would like to see a pullback come down to at least $1.20, but ideally if it came down to this next level of support around $1.04, I'd be a lot more interested. But I don't think if this is a strong coin, it's going to come all the way back down here. It might just consolidate around $1.20, 21-ish, and then break through again. Conversely, if you did want to trade this and you wanted more of a confirmation that this was actually going to continue higher, you could wait for the level reclaim here around $1.58-ish, and then target these next lows here around $2.64 with a stop somewhere like that. So that's another pretty good trade if we do reclaim this level right here. I think we will probably go towards $2.63 pretty soon after. So, XRP, SUI, and Virtuals are three that I could see taking off in the coming weeks if Bitcoin does continue to hold up. But even so, if we do get a pullback, we get 10% declines on all these altcoins. Good areas to kind of then go and enter as well. Then moving on, we have Look onchain saying it seems that whales/institutions are accumulating ETH. Over the past 3 hours, a wallet linked to Cumberland has withdrawn 27,632 ETH, worth $50 million from Copper, Binance, and Coinbase. We also have Gordon saying BlackRock just made its largest Ethereum buy in over 2 months at $54 million. They now hold a massive $2.06 billion in ETH, still bearish. Then we have Leon Weidman saying 93% of BlackRock's BUIDL is on Ethereum. Institutions follow deep liquidity, credible neutrality, and battle-tested security. ETH is already their settlement layer. Noise will tell you otherwise, numbers won't. And he's right, numbers won't tell you otherwise, and ETH is still underperforming everything. I'm not sure if Leon looked at the chart, but ETH is not one that you want to buy right now. You kind of want to wait for it to show strength. And if we look at Bitcoin compared to Ethereum, Bitcoin has reclaimed its range that it lost. Ethereum is still way down below. So the range that it should have lost is around $2,300. So that is, we're still almost 30% away from the range that it should have reclaimed in comparison to Bitcoin. So ETH is not holding up the best. I have not been a fan of it for a while, but if you do want to trade this, or if you are bullish on Ethereum, you want to see it reclaim this level here around 1850 and then come back up. We probably will, come back up to this next level pretty quickly around 2300. But I do expect this to be a big resistance coming from the underside now, because this is a multi-year level of resistance support that we broke through, and now we have to break back above. So this is going to be a tough resistance to get through around $2,300. So that's why I'm not looking too forward to getting an ETH or buying any positions here. I'd be a lot more likely and a lot more interested once we do finally break back above here, because then we could probably have less resistance and more narrative, something to happen for ETH going forward. So this is the area I'd be a lot more interested in once we break around above 2400-ish. But if you did want to trade it for some reason, you could, wait for a level reclaim around $1,900-ish for Ethereum. And then lastly, moving on, we have Raphael Coin brings art on chain. So this is actually kind of crazy. So Raphael Coin is a new project powered by Gleek's blockchain technology, and it's launched the first tokenized artwork, Recto, a study for the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. Now, instead of sitting in a vault or museum out of reach, this piece is digitally fractionalized. It's art on chain. This will allow anyone to own a part of it, and RAF tokens are currently available on the Gleek's Bitcoin exchange and the Mandala exchange, and this will open access to investors and art lovers alike. Unlike typical NFTs or speculative drops, the Raphael coin offers something more grounded, economic ownership in a physical, authenticated artwork. This means token holders aren't just buying bragging rights, they can share in the financial value, provenance, and potential returns from licensing, exhibitions, and other venues. And as public museums face budget pressures and private collections grow more exclusive, Gleek and Raphael Coin are creating a new open model. By combining financial access with cultural value, they offer an alternative form of shared guardianship where ownership isn't limited to the ultra wealthy. So that's pretty cool. If you are someone who is very interested in art, you can get the Raphael coin and you can own part of this this new Raphael piece, which is pretty insane. But that's it for today, guys. We are kind of just holding up right under resistance, pretty much the same as we were yesterday. I do expect us to kind of come back down to this $92,000 level at least, and then consolidate and then blast through this level of resistance again. And then we are off to the races for $110,000 as the new all-time high pretty soon. So I do think we're going to be in for a very good couple of weeks and months coming up now. So make sure to stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.